We get to one of the conundrums of the year, the North Queensland Cowboys, who dropped from
Yeah.
third or fourth, down to 10th,
Started like a bag of shit.
and almost didn't. And from the way they started, overachieved to finish 10th. And we're on the verge. We're playing out that last round to and produce one of their most boring performances.
A
all
lot
year
of
in
these
that
teams
game.
are playing out their last sort of couple of games to get into the finals. It was weird how the ladder changed in the last 4 weeks of this competition. It was crazy, really. Finished 11th, 12 wins, 12 losses. For and against a positive 4. Completed at 80%, which was second in the competition, actually, which is, kudos to them. Just obviously didn't do enough off the back of that. Tackle efficiency of 85%. Average 22.8 points a game, which was 546 overall, and 22.8 in returns, which was 542. Handling errors, they were down the bottom. A lot of these teams that finished down the bottom of the table actually had some pretty good discipline stats go their way. Like penalties conceded, they were middle of the road. But yeah, handling errors, they were in the bottom couple of teams for averaging only 9 handling errors a game. Kick meters was first, as I mentioned before, with Chad. Kicked more on average, 605 average kicking meters a game. So that's one string to his bow, and the rest of it wasn't great. Missed tackles, they ran second, which was pretty poor, obviously. I've lost my way here. Missed tackles, they ran second. Kick return meters was pretty good for them. Obviously, that helps with drink water at the back. They were first for field goals with Chad as well. So that's you can kick field goals and kick long, but not much else. Val finished 8th with points overall, which is not bad considering he's out back end of the season. Felt with 13 tries was their highest on 22.
Yeah, this is disappointing, and I think that's the common theme of these bottom 8 teams is
nobody cashing
in, and that's we've talked about Cowboys, we've talked about Manly, we've talked about Tigers in the top 3 for run meters. You've talked. A lot of this comes back. We're almost in a quarterback age of rugby league.
Yeah.
And if you don't have one of the top 5, 6, 7 halves,
it's a great opportunities.
And they have one of the best playmakers in the comp who doesn't actually play in the halves, but.
He does have a couple of stats here. Like you look at line breaks, they were 21st with Tuolangi, and post-contact meters 50th. So they're not making meters at the line. They're not breaking tackles. Drink water with try assist was actually 4th in the competition. So we mentioned him all season how good he was there. Their offloads.
He would have been. There's people in Supercoach comps, draft comps that would have got drink water.
Yeah.
And probably at the start being iffy, but would have just been very happy people by the end of the comp.
Yep. Drink water, line break assist, again, 4th. Robson made a shit ton of tackles, averaged 42 for the season. He had another dummy half that had a fantastic season. Reece Robson was right up there with doing, all the tough stuff. He copped a couple of head knocks and a few injuries, which probably tempered his stats a little bit towards the back end of the year. But, their standouts were blokes like Drinkwater, Robson. Their forward pack really didn't have a huge impact. There's no stats come out of their forward pack from anywhere.
Here's a stat for you. Last year, Reece Robson was the most runningest
dummy half
in the game. He was 202nd in the comp this year.
202nd?
Yep, 202. I've just sorted that. 1,300 metres.
Fucking hell.
So that is... I don't say he's disappointing because he got through a mountain of work, but there's two sides of that, because I'll tell you why it happened. Because for the first 3 months of this season, they had no size in their forward pack.
Nowhere.
Injury, and Luciano not being there, Tamalo injured. Talmo went up for a holiday. Good on him, but didn't play a lot of footy. They didn't have, they rely on Cohen Hess to do a lot of hard work and blokes who had a decent season actually.
He did have a decent season,
but they did not have the forward pack to match up for the first 3 months. And you look at where and so I think that obviously doesn't allow Robson to then be trying to stay at a dummy half, does it? But so, and I just saw that, but I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think that's the story of the year because, well, they came from last year where they were an energy-based team. They were completions, line speed, fitness. They pride themselves on being the fittest team in a comp. Payten has come out and said that he tried to go soft on them because they gassed out last year. He has openly said that he went soft on them to start the year compared to last year.
And and that shows they had 5 wins after 13 rounds.
Yeah.
So, throw maybe a bye in there, but that's 7 losses and 5 wins to start the season.
Yeah.
You're on 10 points or 12 points maximum after where other teams are on 20, 22, and then you're just chasing for the rest of the season.
And then they had that little spurt where they they got done by 60 to the Tigers, and then but then after that
they won 5 games
and
had 2 buys.
We're alive, and buys maybe are a key to some of these finishes as well, at the right time.
Positioning of the buys,
but they came good. But by the time it got to the end there, like it never felt like they're never going to beat Penrith, and it never felt like they're going to be a chance.
No.
In that back end, so it was a really weird, fluctuating all up.
Yeah, absolutely it was. There was some standouts. Obviously, Drinkwater was probably their number 1 standout, followed pretty closely by Valentine Holmes, who was missing it towards the back end of the year. Cotter was another one who was a standout. Took him a while to get going. I think he had some injuries at the start of the year as well.
He did, another one off a World Cup campaign.
Yeah.
Another one that's had World Cup, Origin, and he doesn't half-ass it.
Yeah.
And
Luciano was missing for half the season. Yeah. And when he came back, he was very strong, and he was one of their standouts. Yeah. A bit of size and consistent.
Even in that Tigers game they got beat, you could see the dynamic change there a bit.
Yep. There's a few positives there. The likes of Lukey and Nanai, they're a little bit hit and miss, but at their best, they're very good players. Griffin Neame, has he moved on, or is he still there?
Don't quote me. I almost feel like he's going to Dolphins.
Moving. Yeah, me too. But Fini Fuanaki, only at the back end of the year, but there was some really nice performances out of him. And young Laybutt towards the back end of the year actually looked like...
when you throw Valame in that, actually. Because Valame, they defaulted back to Felt, but Valame had that...
Yeah, because you get injured at the back? Is that why he got dropped? Yeah,
but he was very good. He was him and Laybutt gives them something. Fuanaki has got something as well. I thought Nanai, the games he played, was more physical than we've seen him.
Yes.
And has put on a bit of size, or at least feels like he's put on some presence, if nothing else.
Lukey took half the season to get going, but they did have some games where he was good.
I think, look, it's disappointing, but Payten will now reassess and probably find a happy medium from.
And there's still only one game out of the 8, realistically.
Exactly. So on the back of a World Cup, you get Cotter fully fit. You get Leilua, Nanai fit. You get Lukey as well. All of a sudden, that's an impressive forward pack if you can get it all up and going again. McLean didn't have a bad year, but it's hard. It's very hard in his comp to be a one-out.
Well, he's pretty much retired now, so to be honest. Borderline guys in the likes of Granville didn't have huge impacts, but there was a couple of games where he was decent. Jason Tomalolo, for mine, again, is borderline. Got through his work, but...
you get Tom Chester for a year. It's another workhorse.
No huge impact from him. Dearden was... I put him in the borderline category more than positives, just because I thought he wasn't any better than what he was last year. And for mine, he really needs to improve. He needs to take on the role of being the number one man.
The question mark for me is that are we heading toward... And Townsend's got, a year left? Are we heading towards him having to be a 7? I know Jake Clifford's coming back.
But it makes sense to me.
For our amusement.
Even move Drinkwater to 6.
Him to 7. Him as a running 7, Drinkwater to 6. And trying to get...
That's what I'd be looking
and maybe Val to 1 or looking what else you've got in up your sleeve there.
And Tuolangi on the wing. Even though he's brilliant for Queensland, he was still borderline for me for the Cowboys. And the question marks I have... You could put Jason Tamalolo in those question marks as well. Yeah. I thought there were some games where he just wasn't a factor at all. Kyle Felt, he's pretty much, end of his career
waiting
now.
To retire.
So, Townsend, massive question marks of mine. Obviously, his kicking game gets him around the field with his kicking game, but adds very little in attacking structure.
This is what I'm wondering is how quickly this transition starts happening to either a Dearden as a 7.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has he recommitted? I think he's still going to open market as well. Clifford coming back, and like I said, whether that Drinkwater experiment at some point happens, whether he has played 6 in the past, whether he ends up back there.
And you could throw Granville into those question marks as well. I
assume
don't know
he
whether
won't
they
have
look
much.
to
He
get him
won't-
changed
He won't
for
be much
somebody
for
else.
this NRL.
Yeah, we mentioned everything else. The shocker start, real issue creating opportunities with their halves, with their ball playing, and their defence in the start of the season was dog shit. They were getting points scored on them all over the place at the start of the year, which was obviously a big part of the reason why they struggled so hard. But they start a bit better next year. There's plenty of opportunities for them to finish in the bottom half of that top 8, maybe even higher, depending on how well they're going. But
The only
that's
bloke
a
I
whole
mentioned
heap
who
of
had
other questions.
quite a good season, ball in hand, was Peter Hiku.
Yeah.
Created plenty of opportunities. was
Considering
strong
where he
and-
is at his career.
Yeah,
100%.
had one of his better years.
Fell
but-
away for the last couple of weeks of the
Yeah.
year, but yeah, was strong for the majority.
So they're an interesting one. They're just these two teams. I just feel like they are where they are right now, and that's probably going to change a lot, unless they can. Like it'll be forward. It'll be go back to trying to become almost like the Warriors, forward pack driven. Try and get as much size as you can in the field, and work hard and go right back. Because right now, they are who they are.
I think Cowboys probably slightly ahead of Manly there. I think Manly have got a few more issues with the size in their pack than what the Cowboys do at the moment. But yeah,
Plus, Manly have,
Be
but
interesting
Manly
to
have
see
more
how you go
individual
with-
brilliance.
yeah, no, 100%.
But that said, Val didn't have. He had 3 amazing games, but he wasn't blowing teams away every week.
He was still one of their better players.
Yeah.
a lot of the weeks. So.
But he's not going to be a fully fit to Travojevic
No, true.
on paper.